Hello everyone, welcome to our channel, and that is Double Click Academy, your ultimate online lessons. Today, you realize we shall be looking at that is Microsoft Word, and we shall be basically interested in understanding how a home tab operates. But before we continue, please click and subscribe to our channel so that you'll be always in position to get those updates whenever we post them. You'll be the first person to get them. Now you realize previously we had looked at that is basically how to create a file and then saving a file into a folder. So it means we have the understanding of creating a folder and saving a file into that folder. Now we shall be looking at basically that is the home page. We shall be interested in the key important things in the home page. That is basically what we shall be interested in. And from here, we already have our text, means we have already typed in, and you should be having the skills on how to type. Of course, as you're progressing, your speed also progresses. The more you practice, the more the speed also increases. So, assuming this is what we have already typed in, we have title here, introduction or welcoming remarks. Then we have a text there. Hello everyone, welcome to Double Click Academy. That is the text we have. Now we want to make some of the submissions in the home page. That is basically how are we going to formulate or format this text into what we basically want it to be. So here we shall be looking at things like pasting and copying from somewhere here. Then we shall also be looking at that is the bold, the italic. We shall be looking at all of them. Now, before we continue, maybe we can first wrap it up on how we can copy and cut, copy and paste this text into various sections or pages. Now, for this case, we have this text. Now, assuming we want to copy and paste this text into another page. Remember, here we only have basically one page here. How do we know that we have one page? Of course, even when you scroll, the page ends somewhere there. But also down here, we also have page 1 of 1. It means we have only one page, and this page, this text is in that very page. Then we also have down here the number of words, assuming you're asked to tell the number of words. The number of words are somewhere here. Here in total, we have 78 words. That is individual words. So we want to copy and paste this text into another page. We can, of course, copy and paste it in the very page, or we can copy and paste it in another page. So our interest is to copy and paste. So what we are going to do, there are so many shortcut forms of copying and pasting, but we shall not look at the shortcut form. The shortcut forms, you will understand them as we progress. But copying and pasting means we first create that page. How do we create a new page? There are so many ways of creating a new page. The first one is for you to keep on pressing enter key until your key reaches into a new page. So we are entering the key. Now here we have entered into a new page. How do you know that we're already in a new page? You will tell from here. Now from previously it showed 1 of 1. Now here we have 2 of 2. It means our key is in page 2 of pages 2. So that is what you know about creating a new page. So alternatively, we can also get back and see another alternative of creating a new page or inserting a new page into our document. So we have gone back and we still have 1 of 1. We want to create a new page. For creating a new page, we can also put our cursor immediately after the text, anywhere after the text. Then from there, we shall now come to insert here. We shall click on insert. Then from insert, it gives us the blank page. We shall click on blank page. Now there we have our other page. It has already inserted a new page. So those are the two ways of creating inserting a page into our document. So with that, we shall get back to our home because our interest is at home or is home. So we shall now get back to that. So we want to copy this text into another page that we have just created. How do we do that? The first thing you have to do is to underline or to highlight. So we shall highlight our text like that. Then after highlighting it, we shall bring our cursor back inside the text which you have highlighted. Then from there, we shall right click We shall right click it, then we shall come to, if we want to cut, we can cut. If we want to copy, we can copy. The difference between cut and copy is that cut removes the first or the original text and carries it to where you want it to be. But copying means we shall copy the original text, but still it will remain in the same area as well. Then we shall also duplicate it in another page. That is the difference between the two. So here we want to copy. So we shall click on copy. Then after clicking on copy, we shall now scroll to where exactly we want to put that text and want to put the text in the beginning of page 2. Then we shall bring our cursor there. Then we right click still. And then this time we have several options of pasting. We have this one, which tells us this one is keep source formatting. Then there's this one, merge formatting, and so forth. So we can choose maybe we keep the same source formatting and we click on it. When you click on it, it will now paste it there. Now here we have the text in page 2 as well. Oh, our page has gone to page 3. It means we clicked it several times. So our text is now in the second page. So the first page has our text, the second page also has our text. So that is how we copy and paste the text. Now, after copying and pasting, which are these other things, we also now want to see how we are going to format the font type. There is on top here we have what we call the font type. Then we have the font size. These are the font types and the font size. Then down here we have the font color. We have the fonts. There are 3 fonts here. We have the font type, the font size, and then the font color. We shall be looking at all of them, but we shall start with the font type first. So we shall now highlight where we want to change the font type. From here it shows the font type is Calibri for the whole text. But assuming we want to change the font type to something else, what we are going to do, of course, is always to highlight. Before you start formatting anything, we first highlight that specific text that we want to change. So we shall highlight it like that. Then after highlighting, we shall now come to the drop down here, which shows Calibri. There is a drop down. Then we click on that drop down. That drop down gives us all the font types that we have. Now, assuming we want to change the font type to Times New Romans, or we want to change it to Tahoma, we want to change it to Arial, Narrow, Arial. All of them, whenever you point at any, it changes according to that font type. So that is how we select the font type. From here, assuming we are interested in Arial, we can click on Arial, and then all the highlighted text changes the font type. Now from here it was showing Calibri, now here is showing Arial this time. Now that is that. Now assuming we also want to change the font size. The font size originally is 11, but we can still highlight it where we want to change the font size. Then we shall now come to the drop down besides the 11. Then assuming we want to make it to be 12, we click 12 after. So now you realize our text now has the font size of 12. Now, assuming we want also to put the heading to be having a different font size, maybe assuming it should be bigger than the rest of the body, we can also highlight it. We shall highlight the title, which is that. Then we shall now come to the font size. Instead of it being 12, maybe we want to make it to be 16. We shall click on 16. Now you realize there is a difference in our sizes. The heading has a different size from the body. So that is how we can look at that. Then also we know sometimes when we are typing a document, you may be sometimes need it to be, the heading to be bolded sort of, or underlined, or whatever you want it to be. Now for this case, we want to bold our heading. To bold our heading, we shall still highlight the heading. If you wanted to bold the whole work, you can highlight the whole work. But if you're interested only bolding the heading, we can bold the heading. Then from here we shall, highlight it. Then we come to click on this B. This capital B represents bold. Even when you point at it, it shows bold. Or it gives you also a shortcut form that if you want to bold, highlight it and then Control B, just the way it shows you from the bracket side there. That is a shortcut form. That is the most important thing with this kind of features. When you point at it, it even gives you the shortcut form of it. So for this case, we shall click on bold. Now you realize that our introduction or welcoming remarks has been bolded. So that is how we work on bolding, and that is that. Now, assuming also maybe we want to make a certain text to appear italic. Italic means the text will be slanting a little bit to the right. That is the italic. That is also one of the types or the font types we have. But for this case, assuming we want to make the last statement here to appear as italic. So we can highlight on the last statement here. We highlight it. Then after highlighting, we come to this I. Slanting I represents italic. The shortcut form is Control I. So after highlighting, we can click on it like that. So now the last statement there appears in an italic manner. So that is that. Also, sometimes when we are working on our documents, we also want to make it, other than bolding the heading, maybe we're also interested in underlining the heading. Sometimes when you're writing a document, you need those kind of features. So we can highlight the heading, then we shall now come to this underline. The capital U represents the underline. The shortcut form of it is Control U. So we can click on the U, that is the underline. When maybe one thing I should clarify is in the bracket form, the shortcut form. When they say Control plus U, they mean you should press Control. Don't leave Control until you press U as well. So you first start by pressing Control. Don't leave Control. Look for U. Press U as well when Control is still pressed. So that is the Control plus U, what they mean. So that is how we always do that in a shortcut form. So we are done with underlining our heading as well. So that is basically that. Then also you realize we also talked about the font type, the font color. Now, how do we make the font colors? Assuming maybe our heading, we want to make the font color to appear, the font color should be, maybe we want the font color to be red, something. So we can come to the font color is here. You click on the font color. Now it changes the font color to red. Then assuming maybe the second paragraph we want it to be font color purple, we can highlight that also. Then we come to the drop down here. We look for purple. If you're familiar with the colors, I know you will be in position to get purple. Purple is there. Then if maybe the third paragraph we want to make it to be font color maybe yellow, we can come there and look for the color yellow, something, or we can look for green. Green is there. So all of them, you can give them their own different font colors. So that is how we get the font colors. Then also, before we proceed, we also have this, which we are calling it the text highlighting color, which I will explain the difference between the font color and the text highlighting color after I've already put it. Now here you realize we have applied the font color. Now assuming we want to apply a text highlighting color to our heading as well, of course we shall highlight it, then we shall come to this. Maybe assuming we want to put the text highlighting color to be a friendlier color, that is yellow. So that is the text highlighting color. Now, when you look at the two colors, you realize there is a difference. The font color affected the letters directly. It affected the coloring or the colors of the letters. Under introduction, the letter I was changed to red from black, which is automatic. Then now for this case of the text highlighting color, you realize the text highlighting color affects the background of what you've highlighted. For this case, the colors of the words remain as red, but their background has been affected from white to now yellow. That is the difference between the two colors here. So the text highlighting color affects the background of the words, but the font color affects the words colors directly. That is what we mean by that, by the two. So that is that. Then also you realize sometimes maybe we need our heading to be in capital letters. In outside computer we call it capital letters, but in a computer we call it caps lock. We want to use the caps lock here by making it to be capital or capital letters, whatever you want to call it in your ordinary learning. So we want to make it to be having capital. Now we can highlight it. Then when you come down here to there is that symbol of capital A, small a. When you point at it, it shows you that those are changing, those are cases. Assuming you want to change the case to caps lock or whatever we want to call it, we can come to this, then we click on that. Then from there we shall have, there is a sentence case. What does a sentence case imply for this? A sentence case is basically that kind of sentence or wording that you put, because we know that in our ordinary English in primary, we're told that a sentence is supposed to start with a capital letter. That is what the sentence case means. It means that the first letter in that sentence will be capital, then the rest will be small letters. Or for this case, the first letter will be in uppercase, then the rest will be lowercase. Uppercase implies capital letters, then lowercase means small letters. So that is a sentence case. Then now you come to lowercase. I've already explained lowercase means small letters. It means when you highlight something and you click on lowercase, it will be all in small letters. Then uppercase means when you highlight some sentence, all of them will appear in capital letters. Then we also have capital H word. It means in that sentence, each starting word will be in a capital, then the following other words will be in small letters. That is what we mean. Maybe we can start by practicing it. When you highlight the title, then you click on sentence case. What happens is that it's only the I that becomes capital, the rest become small letters. Then if we still continue and you make it to be lowercase, even the I this time turns to be small letter. Everything is small. That is the lowercase for that case. Then if we continue by making it capital, by uppercase, I mean all the letters will be in capital. Then if we proceed with the capital H word, that is what happens. So that's exactly what I was trying to explain here, and that is that. So for this case, we are interested in making it appear as uppercase. So we can make it to be uppercase. That is that, about that. So other than that, we also have this increase font size, then decrease font size. They operate the same way like what we did from here. If you want to increase the font size of this, we can come highlight it, then come to this. When you click on it, it goes from 16 to 18. When you click on it again, it goes to 20 and so forth. If you want to reduce, you do the same thing, of course, when it's highlighted and it reduces on the font size. So that is basically what we have for this case. Then we shall now come to the paragraph section. We are done with the font section. Then we shall now come to the paragraph section here. Under the paragraph section, we have things here like bulleting, which type of bulleting you need. Then we also have things like alignments. So those are the key things we shall be looking at from here. Now for this case, we want to bullet. Assuming these are all bullets under your introduction, we want to bullet all of them. So it means we shall highlight all of them like that. Then after highlighting, we shall now come to bulleting here. When you click on the drop down, it gives you a variety of different types of bullets you want. How do you want to bullet? Of course, by default, it shows none. Do you want to bullet it using these circles? Do you want to bullet it using whichever way of bulleting you want? You can choose it from there. Assuming we want to bullet it in that aspect, we can click on that bulleting. So it has already bulleted our work. So that's how basically we bullet. Also, there's also this, which I didn't show you earlier on. Here we have undo and then redo. What does it mean? Undo means if you have done something, you can reverse it back to the previous state before you did that, what you did. Then redo means if you undid something, you can take it back to the state that you found it from. So for this case, we have already done it in this way by bulleting, but we want to undo by removing bulleting or taking it back to the previous state before the bulleting. So we can click on that. It has taken us back to the state previously before the bulleting. Now we want to number. Numbering is the same thing like bulleting. We shall come to this drop down. Then we choose the numbering we want. Which type of numbering are we interested in? Then that is the numbering type you will select or click, and it will be as far as you want to number it. So that is that. If you want to undo, we can still undo it and put back our document to what we wanted it to be. So now we come to alignments. How do we make these alignments? When you look at this introduction, assuming it's our title and we want our title to appear in the middle of our page or in the middle of our piece of paper. Now, what we are going to do, we shall of course highlight that. Before you do any formatting, first highlight whatever you want to format. So we want to format the heading to center line. Instead of it appearing from beginning from the left, we want it to be in the center, not even on the right, not even on the left, but should be somewhere in the center. So we highlight it, then we come to this center alignment. When you click on center alignment, the text comes to the center. You can see the difference. Then maybe for this case of the text, maybe we want the body to be also center. When you click on the center, that is exactly how it will be. It means it's in the center alignment. But if you want it to be in the on the left alignment, we shall click on the left alignment. If we want it to be on the right alignment, we shall click on the right alignment. And if you want to justify it, we can justify. Justify means it is uniformly appearing in the page. That is what it means. Left alignment means the text starts from the left and it goes to the right. And right alignment means the text will be concentrated on the right other than the left. So that is basically what we have here, and that is how we make our alignments for this case. Now, other than alignments, we also have this, which is line and paragraphing spacing. We want to paragraph space our work. From here, when I typed it, I had already left spaces, but maybe we can remove the spaces so that we can see the power of spacing here. So that is that. So now we want to space our work. How do we space our work? Of course, we highlight it first, the body. That is what we want to space. Then after spacing, highlighting it, we now come to this drop down underline spacing. Then from here, assuming we want to have a 1.0 spacing, 1.15, 1.5, sometimes it's called double spacing, so we can do that as we wish. So if we want to space it up to 3, we can do that, depending on the ways you've admired how to space your work. Assuming I want to space it for 1.5, that is that. It means it's now spaced 1.5. If I want to take it to 1, you will now see that 1 makes the work to be so much close to one another other than 1.5 or 2, whatever the case it is. So that is how we space our work. Then also, other than the font color and then the text highlighting color, we also have shading here. There is a shading color here. Assuming we wanted to shade maybe our text, our body, other than the heading, we can highlight it. Then from there, we shall now come to the shading color here. Then we select the shading color of our choice. The shading color of our choice, maybe it is that one. Now you will now realize that for this case, it is almost like the text highlighting color, but for this one, it goes down into the background and gives a uniform shading here. Now the blue is turned into that, and it's so much systematic and interesting, unlike if we had done the same with the text highlighting color. Maybe let us do that as well for text highlighting color. We can highlight the whole text. We highlight the whole text, then we put the text highlighting color. You can now see the difference. For the text highlighting, the difference between the text highlighting color and the shading color is that the text highlighting color only minds about where the text ends. And those other spaces that we have just created, the text highlighting color doesn't affect it. Unlike the shading color affects every space that is there. Whether the text has ended somewhere here, now like lessons ends here, then now the text highlighting color is not appearing here. But for the shading color, it appears as long as it reaches where you ended with your highlighting. So that is how we basically look at that. And with that, we come to the end of this. The rest of the things we shall proceed from, we shall have a video on that. But for this, these are the key important aspects under Home tab. And with that, I would like to thank you for having stayed tuned to this tutorial. And I'm very sure that when you keep on listening and watching it, you'll always be perfect in whatever you'll be doing under the Home tab. Thank you so much for listening, and I wish you a blessed day.